Okay, we're now joined by Mohamed Elmasry. He's a professor of media studies at the Doha Institute for Graduate Studies. Welcome back to Al Jazeera. So when you look at this ceasefire agreement, I mean, over the period of 60 days, both sides are meant to take certain steps, but we're hearing of violations, and this has been happening since the first day of the announcement. How do you think the next 60 days are going to look like?
Well, it's certainly a very precarious situation. I was here yesterday and I mentioned that Israel has a long history of engaging in these ceasefire negotiations and then agreeing to ceasefires and then violating the terms, and then also accusing the other side of having started the episode of violations. So that's kind of the cycle that we've seen unfold over a period of many years, and already, as you've reported, the last few days, Israel has apparently violated the agreement. So, in some ways, the ball is in Hezbollah's court. They could certainly attack Israel right now on the basis that Israel has already violated the agreement, but so far they have not sort of taken that bait. One of the problems with the agreement itself is that if you listen to Joe Biden and Benjamin Netanyahu, they're giving Israel wide latitude to attack Hezbollah if there's any perceived violation. They do not give the same latitude, of course, to Hezbollah. The words are there's a striking sort of juxtaposition there if you look at what Biden said and also what Netanyahu said. So certainly there's concern, but it's too early to tell whether or not we are, we're going to be able to run the course here for the 60 days.
There is some reporting in Israeli media, as well as U.S. media, in fact, that seems to suggest that there's been some sort of side letter between the Biden administration and Israel, that the Biden administration provided Israel the side letter, which reportedly says that Israel reserves the right to act and strike in South Lebanon whenever it wants to. But at the same time, at the announcement that Biden made over the ceasefire, he framed it as it being a permanent cessation of hostilities. So what do you make of these sort of contradicting narratives?
Well, I mean, if you look at what Biden said publicly, even that side letter aside for a moment, I mean, right. I actually looked at his words and kind of studied them, and he was making a very clear distinction between Israel on the one hand and Hezbollah on the other. So there was a double standard even in his words, and then Netanyahu doubled down on that. So it's very clear that from the U.S. perspective, Israel has the right to engage Hezbollah, to attack Hezbollah, but Hezbollah does not reserve the same right to do to Israel. So there's already this kind of built-in double standard, even if we just take the explicit text, not including or not taking into account that side agreement that has been reported on.
And the U.S. now, we understand, has sent this military envoy to Lebanon to sort of help monitor that ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah. What do you think he'll be able to do? And is he going to be able to kind of make sure that Israel, both sides enforce the terms of that agreement?
No, I don't think that's what he's there to do at all. I think that, as I've said and as many people have noted, the United States is not a neutral arbiter in all of this. They're on the side of the Israelis, so they will be looking out for Israeli interests, making sure that Hezbollah does not violate. But they're not there, I don't think, to sort of hold Israel to account. That would be shocking at this point.
And I just have to ask you, Mohamed Elmasry, while you're with us, about developments in Gaza, because we were just discussing with our reporter, Tara, on the ground, that there has been yet another attack on aid workers, the World Central Kitchen. We're hearing at least 2 people have been killed. What's your response to that?
Well, in many ways, this is not just an attack on military factions in Gaza, but this is an attack on Gazans themselves, Gazan civilians. 70% of the casualties, women and children. Human Rights Watch reporting that Israel has been targeting children by shooting them in the head, shooting them in the chest. The New York Times even reported on that, which was very interesting to see. And it's also been a war on journalists and a war on aid workers. There have been world records set for killed journalists and also killed aid workers. More than 200 aid workers, if you count the people working for the UN, have been killed. No other conflict in history even comes close to that. Not Vietnam, not Iraq, not World War II. And so this is just another page
Okay, Mohamed Elmasry, Professor of Media Studies at the Doha Institute for Graduate Studies. Thank you so much.